A genre I find enjoyable, no matter how good or bad the final product is, are post-apocalyptic wasteland movies. The first time I saw Mad Max: The Road Warrior, I nearly shit my pants on how exciting and fun it was. Granted, I was 12, but I still think given the right circumstances, I could almost shit myself again watching it. The nice thing about this genre is that there are hundreds of movies, all with varying quality, unique and different approaches to how the world ends and how the world looks. So with 28 years later on the horizon and shows like Silo being in the mainstream, I thought we could take a look at one that's a little lesser known. Doomsday came out all the way back in 2008, and needless to say, it wasn't super popular because not many people remember it, let alone talk about it. Now, without wasting any more of your time, let's get into whether you missed out on this movie or if you dodged a highly contagious virus. The movie opens telling us that viruses just happen, and there's nothing you can do to stop them. We then cut to the England-Scotland border as some more narration tells us the Reaper virus spread across Glasgow like the common cold. There was also no stopping it, no cure, and no vaccine, as the movie continues to stress how bad this virus is. Doomsday even has the classic dude holding a sign in the background that says this is the end while he screams into the air. All of Scotland was placed in a lockdown, and after a guy who has the virus is spotted at the border, all hell breaks loose. This results in a mob breaking through and a giant wall being constructed and welded shut to ensure that no one gets through. At the same time, this woman and her little kid who was shot in the fucking eyeball go to a helicopter where they agree to take her while the mom stays behind after giving her a postcard so the kid can remember who she is. Some more narration kicks in to tell us that the wall is 30 feet tall, made of the strongest iron, the waters around Scotland were mined and patrolled, and the air was declared a no-fly zone. Oh, and everyone in Scotland became cannibals, and the world said fuck you to England, and now they're in trouble because England is low on resources from the lack of trade from other countries. We time jump to a team of cops, including Eye Patch Daughter from the opening, and they're conducting what's supposed to be a stealth raid. Now, Eye Patch Daughter, otherwise known as Eden, has a special robot eyeball that she uses as a little camera, but her team is really bad at stealth because they immediately make noise and the mission goes straight to shit. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister is being informed that the Reaper virus has reached London because a bunch of infected humans were found. So the government's big plan is to flood the rivers in order to kill the 12 million people who might be infected because that's the easiest solution for the politics involved. It also turns out that 3 years ago, images of people on the streets of Glasgow popped up when they looked with their satellites. So now they think that that means there must be a cure, so they're gonna send in a team to find out what's up. Eden is picked to lead the team, and after one epic cigarette smoke in the rain later, she's getting briefed about what's going on. Canaris tells Eden that she has 46 hours to find the cure, and he gives her a GPS tracker that will tell them where to send a gunship once she's accomplished their task. So she arrives at the wall and meets her team of forgettable cannon fodder that will 100% not last this plot, so don't expect me to bother naming any of them. The team heads off into the icky land that has become Scotland with their 2 armored vehicles and a whole lot of dreams. I sure hope Nessie's okay though. She's like a Scottish national treasure, right? Eden then plays an audio recording of the doctor that they're looking for because he's the one that might have a cure. When they do arrive in Glasgow, the team heads inside the hospital that the doctor had set up to find a cure so they can look around in the dark for a little bit. Their long searching sequence is interrupted when a random girl shows up outside one of the armored vehicles, so the idiotic driver runs out to help her. And at the same time, another nameless soldier gets a pickaxe through the dome, followed by a bunch of raiders coming out to attack them. They gun a ton of them down, and I mean like a ton. Like, I'm surprised there's this many, because they just keep coming. Also, the armored vehicles try to drive away, and the girl that one guy saved ends up killing him, causing him to crash, followed by the other armored vehicle getting an infinite Molotov cocktail glitch. The whole team regroups in the parking garage, where more raiders appear to just run full speed at these guys with their guns. Shortly after, a crossbow bolt to the neck takes out the last driver, causing her vehicle to crash, so some more fighting on the streets can take place. Eden and 2 other soldiers get captured, while the remaining 2 escape down an alleyway. They take her back to their base. She gets punched a bunch by a crazy guy, while another guy in a gimp outfit just sits in the background. And not much really happens except some torture and the GPS beacon getting destroyed in the process. Everything else is too vulgar and R-rated for me to cover on YouTube, so sorry. Then a very Mad Max Thunderdome bit takes place that involves the big baddie Soul doing an intro dance that goes on a little too long, and then it turns into the can-can. With some more antics, Soul kills one of the captured soldiers by setting him on fire, while Eden works on repairing the GPS beacon. After the barbecue, Eden kills one of her guards by using his nose ring against him, and then she takes out the other guard with ease. On her way out, a lady in another cell begs Eden to take her with her by telling Eden that she can help her find the doctor that they're looking for. This is interrupted by Soul's girlfriend, so a quick sword fight can kick off, but the girlfriend gets in a little over her head, wink, so Eden, the doctor's daughter, can escape. Meanwhile, the other 2 soldiers that escaped get chased by dirt bikes and the Fortnite battle bus before everyone meets up at a train station to escape again. It turns out that Soul is also the brother of the girl that Eden saved, and they're both the kids of the doctor they're looking for, who's named Kane. After the train ride, they take a shortcut through the mountain, which is also a secret military bunker that will definitely come into play later. As they stroll through the woods, they hear Telemund, aka Kane's executioner, who is a motherfucking knight on a horse? Just when this movie was starting to lose me, it brought me right back in. Everyone is taken prisoner, again, to a castle where everyone lives like it's the 1600s. You know, the good old days, when you die at 30, have a different disease every other day, and you never get to experience the joy of TikTok.
Jesus was seen.
Where, Rachel?
Oh my God.
Show me to me, please.
Man of the Hour Kane shows up, and he says that the reason that everyone is still alive is because they were immune and there is no cure. He continues by saying it's survival of the fittest and natural selection, and that's what really kept them alive. You know, the stuff those alpha male guys are always talking about. And that's not good, because London is looking pretty infected, as one infected guy almost snags himself the Prime Minister as a kill. And unfortunately for the Prime Minister, some blood got in his mouth, so he decides to go out on his own terms. Kane makes Eden fight his executioner from before, and she just kicks him around a little bit before eventually putting an axe straight through his helmet. Medieval Prison Break kicks off with some extra grenades for that modern explosive touch before all the good guys take off on horseback. They run back to the old military bunker in the mountain where they find a Bentley, the most practical vehicle when escaping cosplaying medieval knights. Unfortunately, the only real likable character is brought down with arrows Lord of the Rings style before he can regroup to escape with the others. And I love how everyone just stands there and watches him die too. Very dramatic. A car chase kicks off when some of the raiders from before show up in a police car to bump into them a few times before Eden shoots the tires out and it goes flying over the ledge. The rest of the raiders show up for more thrilling car action in what I can confidently say is very Mad Max inspired. Soul jumps into the Bentley for some more roughhousing, and the movie takes a hard turn into a wacky car chase. One car explodes after it hits a guy thrown from the Bentley, another is smacked off a door and then ran over by another car, and my favorite, the gimp guy from earlier comes back to be weird with his tongue before he too explodes. It all leads to the Fortnite battle bus coming back to block off the road, and Eden just drives right through it, killing Soul in the process. A helicopter touches down, so Eden hands over the daughter since she's immune to the virus, and the last soldier alive goes with her. Hey, look at that! One of them did survive after all. Now during this, Canaris admits to all the wrongdoings of the politicians, and Eden's able to record it and give the tape to the last soldier so he can get outed as the horrible, terrible politician that they all are, really. I mean, they're all bad, and let's be honest. Eden goes back to her childhood home from the postcard so she can reminisce about the life she never had, and the movie wraps up with footage of the bad politician being played, and Eden taking over the Raiders for some stupid reason. Like, does she not remember the fact that they burned one of her guys alive and then ate him? Like, they're cannibals, my dude, and this place is still in disrepair, so what's the what? I'm not gonna lie, this movie is crazy and batshit stupid, but I kinda like it. Coming from the director of The Descent, I had a feeling we were in for some stupid dialogue, weird action, and over-the-top monster people. And on every front, it delivered. This feels like two different movies that they combined into one because the direction and tone changes drastically after they escape the Raider camp. We go from a weird cannibal murderous society to medieval cosplaying knights. The Raiders and their vehicles remind me so much of Mad Max. I mean, the dude in the gimp suit is a great example. And I like that. I love a weird apocalyptic world where laws and people have both gone to hell in a handbasket. Soul is a pretty good villain, and he is believable as a crazy guy who has lost his mind in this world that is closed to the rest of the planet. But I find it most funny that England just said fuck you to Scotland and left everyone to die without hesitating. Which is where the 28 days later feeling kinda comes in. An outbreak that was contained to one country while survivors and those immune to the virus try to make a living the best they can. And again, I think this is done as more of an homage than it is trying to blatantly rip it off. I do wish we had seen more of the towns and cities with the Raiders and a little more on how they survived after we were told there was nothing left. And if they were eating people, wouldn't that mean there would be less people because that's now the food supply? But that doesn't really matter when you have some really fun and creative kills, as almost every single person is killed by the end of this movie. The only death I don't like and kinda hate is Norton's. I had to look his name up, but it's this guy. He opens the blast doors so they can escape in the Bentley commercial, but he waits to close it because he doesn't want the cosplay knights to follow. And look, I get it so he can have this dramatic arrow-filled death, but a Bentley is way faster than a horse, so realistically, he could have just left those doors open because there is no way they would have caught up. And I guess if I actually cared about any of these characters, it would bother me more, but honestly, I kind of wanted them all to bite the dust. None of them are really that likable, and I think that's intentionally done so you enjoy all of these over-the-top deaths even more. Like, I love how Soul's head goes flying towards the camera after he crashes. That's very wacky racer coded. Soul is just a silly little guy who at one point punches his mate after everyone escapes on the train. That shit made me laugh out loud pretty hard. It's interesting because the only real threat to this world is getting the virus. Because for the most part, it doesn't seem to change you into a zombie or any variation of the kind. We see one infected charge the Prime Minister's tower, but I got the impression they were still human, they just had the virus and looked a little icky. And honestly, sometimes the best movies about an infection are the ones where the only threat are other humans or getting the virus in the first place. Doomsday does lose a million points because at one point they blow up a bunny. I'm not showing that for obvious reasons, but it's the one thing that I definitely got angry at. You don't kill innocent bunnies, Doomsday. Overall, this is an over-the-top apocalypse movie that takes inspiration from others like it, and though it's not good, I think it can be a really fun ride. Which means Doomsday is going into so bad, it's good. Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this, don't forget to check out my massive video about the Fantastic Beasts trilogy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below what movie you'd like to see me cover in the future.